Oh shit.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. First off, I just want to thank all of you guys on the amazing response on my first YouTube short and on my laptop review. I really want to try to stay consistent, especially with school ending soon for me. So for today's topic, we are focused on the Quest 3. Is this the future of VR? In this review, I want to focus on three topics. I have my journey, then I have the pros, cons of the Quest 3, and then we have the final verdict or the final score of what I give the Quest 3 overall. And you can find those parts of the video at the timeline below, so you can skip to whatever part is relevant to you. My journey begins at the Quest 1 releasing back in 2021. I remember going to Best Buy and picking it up and being excited to play Vader Immortal, which would have been my first steps into VR. I remember when I stepped into the world of Vader Immortal and I could really sense the scale of everything. It was way different from the flat games or the regular games that I've played in the past. And that experience led me from Vader Immortal 1, 2, all the way to 3. But after that, we ran into an issue. When the Quest 1 launched, at least for me, there was a games issue. I didn't know what games I liked. I didn't know what games I wanted to play. Nothing really stuck out for me on the Quest 1. So because of that, about a year or a few months later, I ended up selling my Quest 1 on eBay. But as soon as I sold my Quest 1, the Quest 2 was announced. So then I went and grabbed a Quest 2 with the Quest 1 money I made. I know whoever bought that off me on eBay was feeling the hurt right after that, because that had to suck for them.
Oh my god.
But it was great for me. So the Meta Quest 2 releases at this time, or Oculus Quest 2 back then, releases at this time, and I go pick up the 64GB model. And that's where I feel my VR journey actually kicked off, because that's when I started playing games like Beat Saber, VR Chat, and later on down the road I played Arizona Sunshine. I really enjoyed the social experiences such as VR Chat and big screen. But I still had my gripes with VR at the time. I didn't like the non-color pass-through. I didn't like how uncomfortable it was to look at the lenses because of the limited IPD adjustment. And at this point I started to realize it's not that I don't like VR, it's that I don't have any friends around me that have VR. Think about it. VR is very new. You have friends that have consoles, you have friends that have the PS5 or the Xbox, or maybe you both have PCs, but VR was still very new at that point, to where I didn't know anyone in real life that had a VR headset like I did. So time passes by, and about 6 to 8 months ago I managed to convince my cousin to pick up a VR headset. I brought him over and showed him how it works and everything, and he went out and bought one because it was so cheap at the time. I think the Quest 2 was on sale at the time. So he went and grabbed it, and I started having a million times as much fun as I was playing by myself or playing with other people that I didn't know. This is also where I learned about QuestLink, which expanded my gaming library to PC VR titles, along with the standalone titles. So I'm sitting here with my Quest 2 64GB that has been discontinued at this point, and I see that the Quest 3 has released, and I see a lot of things like the color pass-through so you can play mixed reality games. I see the new processor, and I think it's time for me to upgrade, but I still didn't upgrade until about a year later, where it went on sale due to the Quest 3S launching. And that leads us to where we are now. Quest 3 in hand and currently playing through Arkham Shadow, I figured it was a great time to create a review. So it's time to get into the pros of the Quest 3. I have 4 pros for the Quest 3, and the first is resolution. Now, when I picked up my Quest 3 and started playing it, it looked pretty good, but at that point, I haven't touched my Quest 2 in a while. Since my Quest 2 was now collecting even more dust than normal, I decided to give it to an old friend who didn't have VR so we can play more games together. And when I put my Quest 2 on so I can factory reset it so I can give it away, I literally said, what in the hell is this? Along with the better screen and the better IPD adjustment, the Quest 2 looks so muddy to me, and the Quest 3 was 100% more clear and just my eyes were 100% more comfortable while I was wearing my Quest 3 compared to the Quest 2. If you don't have anything to compare it to, it's not really noticeable. Like before the Quest 3, I used my Quest 2 and I was just fine. But after using the Quest 3 and its new pancake lizards and the resolution and the manual IPD adjustment like we had on the Quest 1, it was night and day, and I never want to go back. For specifications, the Quest 3 is 2064 by 2208 per eye, and the Quest 2 is 1832 by 1920 per eye. And boy, can you tell. Moving along to the processor, if you're familiar with gaming and you've been around for a while, you know when the new Xbox or the new PlayStation comes out, like recently with the PS5 Pro, they always want to make a note of the graphical changes, right? Does it make sense, right? 30% more stronger this, more teraflops, 20% more stronger GPU, stuff like that. Well, the Quest 3 was marketed as being more powerful than the Quest 2 by 30% because of the Snapdragon SoC. And I was thinking, well, it probably won't make that much of a difference, but I was dead wrong. I have some Quest 3 footage here. I was playing Red Matter, and I don't know how I never noticed before, but games on the Quest 2, even the good looking games on the Quest 2, look pretty flat and they just lack detail. But when I was playing Red Matter, like it had, I can put my arm up and I can see shadows. I see all these tiny scratches and details on my arms. I saw like high detailed reflections and just the ambience of the room with the fog and everything. Everything looked great, and I don't know how I didn't notice that things didn't look that good on standalone VR in the past. Even playing through Batman Arkham Shadow, I can tell how much detail is filled in this game and how much better it runs than older games on the Quest 2. So that spec bump with the new Snapdragon chip really makes a difference here. It's not just they're talking and it's just maybe 5 plus FPS. Things actually look better and run smoother. All right, now let's move on to the next pro of the Quest 3, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but my third pro is the Headstrap. Now I know I'm in the minority here in more ways than one, but I really don't see any issue with the stock Headstrap on the Quest 3. I see Quest 2 and Quest 3 videos about accessories, and everyone's talking about the first thing they do is get rid of the head strap. Maybe because I haven't used a head strap from brands like Kiwi and stuff like that, but the stock head strap to me, I don't have any problems with it. I think it's comfortable. I think it makes the Quest 3 hug my face great, and there's little to no like light bleed through the nose hole. I don't have any issues with the Quest 3 stock head strap at all. So when people say the first thing to do is change the head strap, I don't get the hype, honestly. Maybe if you're looking for more battery, like the head strap with the battery on the back of it, but other than that, I don't see the issue. All right, now that we got that hot take out of the way, I got another one for you guys. The battery life is my last pro. I'm not a VR power user or anything like that. When I play games, I don't play them for that long. I play them in short spurts, and I always remember to charge. So the battery life of the Quest 3 being about 2 hours to like 2.5, depending on what you're doing. I never had a problem with it. Quest 2 I did. Quest 2 I think it was too short, but the Quest 3's battery life for me, I don't have any issue with. Usually by the time the batteries run out, I'm already done playing and I just charge it back up. But maybe that's just me because I don't play VR for a long amount of time. I know there's people that play VR for 5-6 hours in one sitting. That's just not me. So I take the battery life for what it is, and it hasn't done me wrong, and it's just enough time for me. So it's time to move into the things I don't like. Now you may have thought that the hot takes were over, but they're not. For my first con of the Quest 3, I hate the new controller design. I do not like it at all. I miss having that ring on the old controllers. Now I know what the ring was for. It was for the Quest 2 to be able to keep track of the controller. And because of the advancements that we have in the Quest 3, the ring is no longer needed. But my favorite part about the ring is that I was able to put the controller down wherever I wanted on any flat surface. The controllers now, they're hard to put down, like they rock too much. When I use hand tracking, I have the setting to where you just tap the controllers together and put the controllers down, and then hand tracking starts. It was way easier when I can just tap the two rings, put them down standing on the ring, and then just use my hands. Now I gotta kind of like tapped them together, which isn't that different. I just tapped them, but then when I put them down, they just rock a little bit, and I just don't like that at all. I wish someone made like an add-on where you could just snap the ring back onto the Quest 3 controllers, or I wish they just kept the ring, because I really like me just being able to put them down and have them be stable in one position. Another con that I have is the game library. I was hesitant to put this here because I mentioned before back in the Quest 1 days that the game library was very weak, but that's not where it is today. On Quest 3 and even Quest 2, the game library is pretty strong. It's just for me personally, I play a lot of flat games, so it's hard for me to find games that directly carry over into things I like. Like say for example, right, I like Call of Duty on a regular flat screen game. But in VR, I don't enjoy shooters as much as I enjoy Call of Duty. So I gotta find out the specific genres I like. I think I like games like Demeo, like tabletop games like that. I've been enjoying Exploding Kittens, I Expect You to Die. I've been enjoying that, like puzzler type games. And I think that the Quest Plus program, where you can subscribe and then get a monthly array of games to redeem, I think that has also been helping me on me finding new games to play and new games to enjoy and new experiences, so I can find what I actually like in VR, because it doesn't always directly transfer. And my final con is game pricing. I remember back in Quest 1, early Quest 2 days, that games were around maybe $20 to $30, and those games still exist, but for the higher budget AAA games on VR, they are now around $40 to even $60. I don't know if it's because the scope of the game increasing or the budget of the game increasing, so I need to get more money back. But for me, $60 is too expensive for a VR game. I know Half-Life Alyx, everyone loves that game, and that game's $60, but if I'm on my Quest and I'm in the store and I see a $60 game, I just ignore it, because I just believe $60 is too much for a VR game. I could be in the minority again for thinking that, but that's just my opinion. I can't see myself dropping 60 on a VR game. Maybe I don't take it seriously enough, I don't know.
For my final verdict, I 100% recommend the Quest 3.
Not only is it a great standalone VR headset for the price, it's also a great PC VR headset. The only thing I would see holding people back from getting the Quest 3 is the $500 price point, but Meta has also recently released the Quest 3S, which is everything I mentioned about the Quest 3, except it has the old lenses of the Quest 2 and other minor differences, such as not having a headphone jack and not having the face sensor, for the same price as the Quest 2 on launch, $299.
If you made it to the end of this video, I just want to thank you for watching the video in full. I really want to focus more on this channel and start getting more consistent with my uploads, and make Seraph Tech another focus of my life alongside work. Anyways, I just want to thank you guys again for making it this far in the video. Please drop any suggestions for VR games or VR accessories in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video.